Hi, my name is Saroo Brierley and this is my mother Suzanne, and we're going back to school with Student Edge.
Hi, I'm Simon Murado and today we're going back to school with Saroo and Sue Brierley. Thanks so much for chatting with us today.
Thanks for having us, yeah.
Well, look, your story is an incredible one, but did you ever imagine that it would, first of all, become a movie, let alone one starring Dev Patel and Nicole Kidman?
No, never. It was just really at the end of the day, I was just, doing something what my heart sort of pushed me towards, and I was trying to find this, anomaly that it's been sort of, pickling my head for such a long time, this oddity, and for me it was just like trying to achieve and diffuse the thought and trying to find answers from what I was sort of being pushed towards. But I'm humbled and touched that it's become a movie and had so much sort of amazing recognition towards.
And Sue, when you adopted a child from India, could you have foreseen, 30 years later, here we'd be?
No, I couldn't have foreseen that, but I always knew that Saroo was a fairly unique and special person. I just sort of had a gut feeling. And so really anything he does not surprise me, because, that's just how he is. I'm really quite passionate about that view.
Well, Saroo, again, as people will learn from Lion or have learnt already from your book, it's this incredible story. You grew up in India, were separated from your birth mother and brother, you were homeless and eventually adopted by Sue and John in Tasmania. What are some of your earliest memories of India?
My earliest memories, the ones that I cherish a lot is, with my brothers, I guess, doing things with them and playing in the dam that we used to, because I didn't really get to see much of them, but, and being there with my sister and my mum, and just, I guess, being a nuclear family where we all came home together and, had sort of a bit of food with what we could sort of afford at that time, and because, that was quite, well, it wasn't regular, sort of being together at one time. Everyone was doing their own things and there was no curfews or anything like that. But I think just really at the end of the day, in essence, just being a family and being home together, and that's what I really liked. But yeah, we went through adversity and lived in the slums and pretty much battled every day to sort of stay alive.
So when did you come to understand what Saroo had actually gone through in India?
Well, it was only when he could speak enough English to convey that story, and that came out bit by bit. As his language improved, he could tell me more, and I wrote it all down and documented it in diaries because I just thought it was important for his later years to have this information. And in fact, some of the things I wrote in the diary, I think assisted him in his search, even though I couldn't spell the names of the places he was telling me. We found out afterwards how far out we were, but the actual things he told me were really accurate. So it's quite amazing that he remembered with such clarity.
And then what about going to school? Again, when you're in Australia, adjusting to school life, you don't speak the language to begin with, for the most part, and the culture shock alone must be something. What are your kind of memories of going to school in those early days?
Oh, look, going to school was one of the things that I really wanted to do because, in India we couldn't afford to go to school, and I used to watch the kids when I was 5 years old in India going to school and coming out of school, and was one of the things that wish I could do that. And also, have friends as well. So coming to Australia, it was like a dream come true, where here I am, in such a sort of different world from what I'd been used to, and this opportunity to go to school and make new friends, which, are made really easily, and also to learn about things and I guess the language as well, English language. So, you know, that was really sort of gratifying and endearing, because I've been yearning for that also for such a long time, and never in my sort of wildest dream back then in India would I ever have thought that I'd be going to school. So, but I'm really happy, you know, and just really humble and touched that I've, I guess, had another chance of life in Australia, and be with an amazing family that gave it unconditional love, and friends that I've made since I was a kid right till now, and they're still there, and yeah.
Well, we have a unique opportunity here, which we don't often get to when we're interviewing people, is to ask their actual mother or their parent what they were like as a teenager. So I want to know, what was Saroo like as a teenager?
Well, you know...
Say something
especially-
nice. Because
You get to comment afterwards if that was a fair assessment or not.
No, Saroo was, right from the moment he came into our lives, he was a very compliant child. He was purely motivated, I'm sure of that. He was grateful for the opportunity of being able to go to school. When he was little, he'd come home and say, "I've been learning like magic." And it was so sweet, I just loved that. And then furthermore, when I went to India and I saw the gates where he used to stand and look longingly through, it really broke my heart. And it made me understand that really he just wanted to make the best of his life. So really I didn't suffer badly through Saroo's teenage years. He was a bit cranky here and there, as boys will be, but overall he was always incredibly focused. And that's the reason he was successful in his search. He made up his mind he was going to do something. He educated himself to be able to do so. He used all the tools that were available, and fortunately Google Earth was invented, and he just went for it. And to this day I think he could really do anything he put his mind to. And I'm so proud I can say Saroo's got a degree, he's a successful businessman and a support to us in our business, and all from that tiny little boy who couldn't speak. He could speak one word of English when he arrived, and that was Cadbury. When he held up, and I didn't realise that for a whole year that was the word he was saying to me. I just felt so bad because he had a blob of melted chocolate in his hand. And there's no Hindi word for chocolate.
Sure.
It's just Cadbury.
So you kept asking for these chocolates.
In his little accent, I just didn't get the word.
Well, that's lovely. Look, that's a pretty good review, I will say, overall, of a teenager. So you've done well there. I will say, when you did begin that search, Sue, again, did you feel like at some point he's probably going to want to know where he came from, or try and find his way to his birth mother? Or were you quite surprised by Saroo coming to you and saying, "I'm actually on this journey"?
No, I wasn't really, because, you know, Saroo's he doesn't surprise me. You know, he's doing everything. He was very heartfelt about this need. We'd nurtured his identity as far as being Indian. We'd validated that by our way of living, our decor, our food, everything about our life with Saroo was validating and respecting the fact that he was an Indian child. And I was really happy about that, because, you know, here was a chance for me to convey to his mother and show her how Saroo was, how beautiful he was, and how he'd grown, and how strong he was, and educated. And I was really proud to be able to show that to Saroo's first mother.
Congrats on the film and the book, of course, and thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, thanks for having us. Yeah,
Great meeting you.
So it's great.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed that video, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, or find more of our stuff at studentedge.com.au.